Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Aurora Online Classes. Dear students, today I'll proceed with the lesson Tea from Assam. This is the third story of the Glimpses of India from your book First Flight. Let's go ahead. Let's read further Tea from Assam. In my previous class, I taught you there are two friends, Pranjal and Rajveer, and these two friends are classmates. They are studying in a school in Delhi, and Pranjal invited Rajveer to come to his native place Assam to spend summer vacation. So both Pranjal and Rajveer are coming to Assam. Pranjal's father was a manager of a tea plantation in Assam. Pranjal was born and brought up in Assam. Pranjal knew lots of things about Assam. And you know that Assam is world famous for tea gardens, means tea plantations. Tea from Assam is supposed to be the best kind of tea in the world. Let's go ahead. Pranjal, a youngster from Assam, is Rajveer's classmate. At school in Delhi, Pranjal's father is the manager of a tea garden. Tea garden means tea plantation in Upper Assam. And Pranjal has invited Rajveer to visit his home during the summer vacation. So Pranjal has invited Rajveer to visit his home. And where is his home? It is in Assam during the summer vacation. So both of them are coming to Assam. Chai garam, garam chai, a vendor called out in a high-pitched voice. He came up to their window and asked, Chai saab, give us 2 cups, Pranjal said. They sipped the steaming hot liquid. Almost everyone in the compartment was drinking tea too. Do you know that over 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world? Rajveer said. Rajveer is informative and is curious to know, or he is curious to learn good things, new things. So they were, while coming from Delhi to Assam, actually they are on the platform, they are at the Delhi platform, and you must have heard vendors saying chai garam like that. You must have heard vendors saying in order to sell their products, in order to sell their things. So Pranjal said, or Pranjal asked the vendor to give them 2 cups of tea. And they were sitting in the compartment, and other passengers were also in the compartment of the train. Then Rajveer shared a very important information with Pranjal. Rajveer told him that over 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world. 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world. And this shows the popularity of tea as a beverage. Phew, exclaimed Pranjal, tea really is very popular. Pranjal told him, agreed with him by saying that yes, of course, tea is very popular. It is a very popular beverage. The train pulled out of the station. The train left the station. Pranjal buried his nose in his detective book again. Rajveer too was an ardent fan of detective stories, underline it. But at the moment he was keener on looking at the beautiful scenery. The train started, the train left the station. Pranjal was fond of reading detective books. Rajveer was also he also liked reading detective books, spy stories, jasusi kahani. But now actually Rajveer was not, only Pranjal was reading the detective stories. He was reading a detective book. He was reading the detective stories. Whereas Pranjal was looking outside of the window and enjoying. He was watching the beautiful scenery outside the train. Then what did Pranjal see? It was green everywhere. Rajveer had never seen so much greenery before. Then the soft green paddy fields gave way to tea bushes. Rajveer was enjoying a lot by watching the beautiful scenery of nature while traveling by train. And Rajveer found that there was greenery all around. Everything was green all around. It was a beautiful scenery. And actually now the tea bushes have replaced the paddy fields. Means in place of paddy fields there were tea bushes all around. So that the scenery was really very beautiful. So it was the site of the green bushes of tea. It was a magnificent view. It was a magnificent sight. बहुत खूबसूरत नज़ारा था. Against the backdrop of densely wooded hills, a sea of tea bushes stretched as far as the eye could see. Dwarfing the tiny tea plants were tall, sturdy shade trees. Amidst the orderly rows of bushes, busily moved doll-like figures. In the distance was an ugly building with the smoke billowing out of tall chimneys. Rajveer saw that there were tea bushes all around, and tea bushes were spreading on the sloping areas all around, and these tea bushes were under the tall, strong and shady trees on the slope, because Assam is a hilly area. And then there was a building there was a factory from which there was a factory there at a distance, and from the chimney of the factory a smoke was coming out. This is what Rajveer saw. Hey, a tea garden, Rajveer cried excitedly. Rajveer was very much excited to see the tea garden. Pranjal, who had been born and brought up on a plantation, Pranjal was born and brought up on a plantation. He was born and brought up on a plantation in Assam. He was from Assam. Assam was his native place. Didn't share Rajveer's excitement. Oh, this is tiny. This is a tea country now, he said. Assam has the largest concentration of plantations in the world. Assam has the largest number of tea plantations in the world. It has the largest concentration of tea plantations in the world. Largest number of tea plantations in the world. You will see enough gardens to last you a lifetime. I have been reading as much as I could about tea, Rajveer said. No one really knows who discovered tea, but there are many legends. Rajveer is very informative. He is really very knowledgeable. He has got good knowledge. He has got lots of knowledge about tea. And it's a very good idea to have knowledge. Actually, Rajveer told him that he has been reading a lot about all these things. And he told him that no one really knows as to who discovered tea. And then Rajveer shared with Pranjal that there are many legends regarding the origin of tea. How did tea come into its existence? How did come into practice? how did people get to know about tea first? So, what is the origin of tea? Actually, Rajveer shared his knowledge, his idea, his information about the origin of tea with Pranjal. He told Pranjal that Rajveer told Pranjal that there are so many legends. Legend means old story, Purani Kahani. There are so many legends related to the origin of tea leaves. What legends? Pranjal asked. What are the legends about the origin of tea? What are the old stories? Legend means old story. So what are the old stories about the origin of tea? Now Rajveer shares him the two legends about the origin of tea. Rajveer shares with Pranjal two legends. There is one Chinese legend regarding the origin of tea, and there is an Indian legend regarding the origin of tea. Well, there's the one about the Chinese emperor who always boiled water before drinking it. One day, a few leaves of the twigs burning under the pot fell into the water, giving it a delicious flavor. Flavor means taste. It is said that they were tea leaves. Actually, Rajveer told Pranjal that according to a Chinese legend, there was a Chinese emperor, and this Chinese emperor used to boil water before drinking it. So one day what happened, when water was boiling and a few leaves of the twigs burning under the pot fell into the boiling water, and when the emperor drank this, it had the smell of, or it had the taste of, the leaves which fell into the boiling water. And since then, these leaves were considered as tea leaves. So it is said they were tea leaves. The leaves that fell into the boiling water, and then the emperor took the taste of the water. It was tasty, and these leaves since then were known as tea leaves. This is a Chinese legend about the story of tea, about the origin of tea. This is what Rajveer shared with Pranjal. Tell me another, scoffed Pranjal. Pranjal told him, what is another story? What is another legend about the origin of tea? Then Rajveer shared another Indian legend about the origin of tea with Pranjal. We have an Indian legend too. Rajveer shared. We have an Indian legend too. Bodhidharma, an ancient Buddhist ascetic. Ascetic means monk, bhikshu, sannyasi, sadhu. Bodhidharma, an ancient Buddhist ascetic, cut off his eyelids because he felt sleepy during meditations. 10 tea plants grew out of the eyelids. The leaves of these plants, when put in hot water and drunk, banished sleep. Now, Rajveer shared an Indian legend, Indian story about the origin of tea. Rajveer told Pranjal that there was an ancient Bodhidharma, and this Bodhidharma was an ancient Buddhist monk. And this Buddhist monk, Bodhidharma, felt sleep. He felt sleepy. This Bodhidharma felt sleepy during his meditation. And he thought that these eyelids are the problem in meditation. So Bodhidharma cut off his eyelids and threw on the ground. And it is said that 10 tea plants grew out of the eyelids which Bodhidharma cut off and threw on the ground, and then those tea leaves were boiled and they were drunk, and those tea leaves with water gave a delicious taste. Since then, it is said that since then tea came into practice. Tea was first, moreover, Rajveer gave him some more information about tea. Tea was first drunk in China, Rajveer added, as far as back as 2700 BC. In fact, words such as tea, chai and chini are from Chinese. Tea came to Europe only in the 16th century and was drunk more as medicine than as beverage. Rajveer added that, moreover, Rajveer added that tea was first drunk in China, and it was first drunk in China as far as 2700 BC. Means tea, people of China started using tea since 2700 BC. Even moreover, he said that the words like chai and chini come from Chinese language and from China to Europe. So what happened? Tea came to Europe. Tea came to Europe only in the 16th century, and in those days this tea was drunk as medicine. It was drunk as medicine than as beverage. So tea came to Europe during 16th century, and at first when it came to Europe during 16th century, people used tea as medicine, more as a medicine than as beverage. The train clattered into Mariani Junction. Now they reached Assam. Mariani Junction is a famous junction there. The boys collected their luggage and pushed their way to the crowded platform. They came out of the compartment of the train and they came to the platform. Pranjal's parents were waiting for them. Soon they were driving towards Dekiabari, the tea garden, underline it, managed by Pranjal's father. Actually, Pranjal's parents were waiting for Pranjal on the platform on the junction, Mariani Junction. When they got Pranjal and his friend Rajveer there, all of them came towards Dekiabari, and this Dekiabari is the tea garden, and this Dekiabari tea garden was managed by Pranjal's father. Pranjal's father was the manager of this Dekiabari tea garden. So they came towards Dekiabari. An hour later, the car veered sharply off the main road. They crossed a cattle graze. And entered Dekiabari tea estate, means tea plantation. On both sides of the gravel road were acre upon acre. Both sides of the gravel road, acre upon acre of tea bushes was there on the both sides of the road, and they were coming by car. All nearly pruned to the same height, and all the tea bushes were cut off to the same height. Groups of tea pluckers, those who pluck tea leaves in the fields from the tea plantation. So groups of tea pluckers with bamboo baskets on their backs, wearing plastic aprons, means dress, were plucking the newly sprouted leaves. They saw that the tea pluckers with their bamboo baskets on the backs were plucking the newly sprouted tea leaves from the Dekiabari tea garden tea estate. Pranjal's father slowed down to allow a tractor pulling a trailer load of the leaves to pass. This is the second flush or a sprouting period, isn't Mr. Barua? Barua means Pranjal's father. The name of Pranjal's father is Mr. Barua. This is the second flush. Second flush means a sprouting period, when the tea leaves sprout. This is the second flush or a sprouting period, isn't it, Mr. Barua? Rajveer asked. It lasts from May to July and yields the best tea. Rajiv asked Mr. Barua, who happens to be Pranjal's father, that is it the second flush? Is it the second flush? Is it the sprouting period for the tea leaves? Mr. Barua said yes, of course it is the sprouting period or second flush for the tea leaves. And Rajveer said that the best tea is found from May to July. Means from May to July yields gives the best tea. You seem to have done your homework before coming, Pranjal's father said in surprise. Pranjal's father was surprised to get such information about tea from Rajveer. So he was not only surprised, he was greatly impressed by the knowledge that Rajveer had about tea. So he said, he gave him a comment. He appreciated him. Yes, Pranjal's father appreciated Rajveer. Yes, it seems that you have done your homework before coming here. Means you have gathered lots of information about tea and Assam before you come here. Yes, Mr. Barua. Rajveer admitted. Rajveer agreed. Yes. Rajveer said that yes, of course, he has gathered lots of information about tea, about Assam before coming here. But I hope to learn much more while I am here. Rajveer is so polite, very intelligent boy, and he said, and he has the spirit of learning, and he said that Mr. Barua, actually I am here, I hope to get more and more information. I hope to learn more and more things about tea while during my stay in Assam. So this is clear, and with this the lesson comes to its end, my dear students. We have come to know that Rajveer is really a very good boy. Rajveer and Pranjal, both of them were classmates. Rajveer had lot of knowledge, he had lot of information about tea and Assam. Thank you very much. That's all for today.